Now, some people have been saying I harp too much on ism and ists, words that end in ism and ist. But I really haven't harped on them enough. Look, anybody using those terms, that you realize they're sociological terms, they've been cooked up essentially in a psych lab. And then look how they're used. They're used to browbeat people, put them on the back foot, put them on the defensive, make them explain themselves. Essentially accusing you of being a bad person, and then you have to explain why you're not that. Don't ever do that. When somebody brings out that word, essentially you're looking at either a hybrid war operator who is polishedly using that technique, or a useful idiot that was exposed to one of those and thinks that there ism and ists kind of language, and just see it as psychological terrorism, will have a psychologically debilitating effect on you that they have studied closely and deemed to be in their political interests, which at this time means total extermination for Western peoples, total annihilation, total replacement, total subjugation. Now, some of you say, well, that's overestimating. Okay, well, maybe they're just going for 80% replacement. Is that okay? Am I now sort of correct according to you? Am I now out of the conspiratorial realm? Because London looks like that now, suckers. Oh, they didn't start off wanting to do that. See, when they were 2%, they played that big game. They beat that big drum that people were over exaggerating. Well, now they are 80%. They have a lockdown on political election. That a bum, Sadiq Khan, who has done nothing but rob Londoners by creating new little taxation schemes like ULEZ, which is supposedly environmental, but essentially is a tax on the working class or anybody that wants to visit London that has a car. It's classist, a classist attack, because I guess you have to have money to maintain a vehicle. You pay the Sadiq Khan tax. Every time you go in, automatically you get the bill sent to you in the mail. You go over a little line, like you go over the double line, that's £100, and how many points in your license? See, 2-tier. The class they're trying to eliminate, no leeway, no nothing. Pay up. You got historical debts to pay according to globalists and their alternative histories. But their histories, that's all shrouded in mystery. They're proud nationalists. They're proud of their culture. They'll wear their little ceremonial dresses even if they're appropriated by other cultures they've annihilated in the past. They're not told that. Nobody's told that. How did you hear that? They want to get rid of those books because they're ism something or other. So don't give them the benefit of the doubt. They've had us on the back foot with it, and now they're not creative enough to come up with something. They figure that works enough. It has worked enough. They figure they can keep using it and still achieve the same results. So see these people immediately. And unfortunately, this can be family members. This is how psychological terrorism and sociological terrorism works. How do you think it worked in Czechoslovakia or Yugoslavia or Romania or East Germany or the Baltic states or Ukraine? Or anywhere you had authoritarian leftists, fake elections with military backup and surveillance and, oh, you said something against Stalin? Well, then you go to a kangaroo court, you get sent to the gulag, and nobody is expecting you to come back. And there's nowhere to get any real information about that. Even today, they're like, how many people died? Was it 50 million or 40? We don't know. Because you have to rely on their records. And, authoritarian leftists, they're not real big in keeping accurate records because they politicize everything. Relationships between men and women, politicize them. Working relationships, you just want to go to a job and do the job because you think that's work. No. It's politics that's important to them. They don't want anybody getting a dime that isn't on narrative. That the economy be damned. This is really something Westerners have a hard time understanding. Like, how could they be this stupid? Look, it works for them. These are power brokers. They like being between you and whatever it is you want to accomplish. And they don't want you being able to do that without them. You want to survive without them? Well, that's why they got these food banks and a crashed economy. But in the papers, you've got Pravda, the opposite. Look how wonderful the economy's doing. Well, for them and theirs, their ilk, flip people in on it, people on narrative. But of course, they're off narrative one day. They're not. They're out the next. And that narrative could be mean anything. You could be a geneticists that have created 3 different types of miraculous strawberries that nobody else could have done. They don't care. Their narrative is more important. And Russia is a wonderful example of that Bolshevik rule from 1917. Now they say it stopped in the 90s, but that was just all whatever. Just shuffling chairs on the deck, because where did the guy come from that has been ruling the country for decades? What was his previous career? That it's all over. It's changed. He's changed his mind. No, he hasn't. The people behind him haven't. They're what matters, not real history. They have a whole different set of history. Like I said, according to them, just look, ask them. When did World War II start for Russia? 1939 or 1941? That's a lot of time, isn't it? That's how many years? 3 years difference? 3 years is a long time. A lot of people right now will be dead in 3 years. They don't even know it yet. You could be dead in 30 minutes, especially during a world war. 3 years difference? How is that possible? How is it possible? Look at all their damn textbooks. See, they're relying on you to be that much of an idiot not to read their textbooks in Russian. But let me tell you, when Russians read the outside of Russia history, the real history, they go through something akin to psychological shock. Like, they sometimes have nervous breakdowns. They can't function, because they built their entire lives on the lie that their group of insiders, unelected officials, gangsters, and you name it, illicit actors, have told them to be the truth. Look at all their damn monuments. Patriotic war, they called it. You want to talk about a heist. So what did they not like? They didn't like people going to the West, getting the real story and coming back and telling people that. That really jammed them up, see? And they thought, because they're conspiratorial and paranoid, that was deliberate. But see, people will talk amongst themselves, will they not? There's no conspiracy. But they thought it was. That was a crime. People went to the gulag for that, suckers. So these authoritarian leftists, these humanitarians in the trafficking game, i.e. slavery, but for humanitarian reasons. They're out loud. This is a hybrid war, people. It has an informational aspect, and it has insider aspects. Fifth column, fifth divisionists, look it up, people. I didn't invent this term. The useful idiots, you organize them into a fifth column. What do you think's been going on in New York City, Chicago, the Mexican border, Germany, France, Ireland, UK? What's been going on? Well, if you go to their people, anybody who says something against them, they're the bad people. Get them. Pitchforks and whatever else. Throw them in, beat them up. Right? No space for free speech. Emotionalize. We're gonna have a repeat of history, false history, 1984. Watch that movie. That's another one. 1984. Read the book, but watch the movie. When they're looking at the screen and putting the wrong guy up and emotionalizing people, forcing them to scream, same technique being applied today. How about the anti-Trumpism? Trump, he's horrible, he's that. Those people run off the loony bus. But they're still like that. They still have it. I'm not voting for Trump because he's an asshole. Anyone says that? That's 1984 speaking. They have no reason why. It's sub-rational. It's an illicit cultural war crime at this time. In the future, people will, especially networks, information networks, social media companies, operatives in those companies, visa holders in those companies from the dictator line, they will go, there will be a crash bang sound heard as they are click-clacked in handcuffs and led away for that. And for a good reason. You cannot have a democracy and then have people jamming like that. Culture jamming, socio jamming, economic jamming. Can't have it. And the Dictator Alliance knows it, but it's a gray zone. So they've been pushing the envelope and they've been accelerating it because they want to collapse the West. The West is the only thing keeping them from doing whatever they want. Chinese want to export their model to South America and Africa. They already have. They got their Prigozhinists on the edge doing it with dummy Westerners and just, let's say, criminal interests in the West. They don't have no problems with that. What, 100 million? I get it, and I just have to do this? They're on board. But everyone else gets screwed, see? It's inherently unpopular. So, but I was listening the other day, again, we get into conspiracy. Well, this started with the Masons in the 17th century. Well, maybe. But a lot has happened since then. These people are fallible. They're people. In my opinion, they've made grave mistakes that are irrecoverable. And also, they make new mistakes every day. They're not creative enough, despite having the foreign services of our mortal enemies at 24/7, 365 kind of connectivity. It still doesn't matter. Because you lose credibility in a democracy if you're not credible. It takes time, but when it happens, it's a done deal because a democracy has all different type of people that can take government positions. A democracy can change the way it does democracy. Democracy has options, but they don't. And ultimately, they're just for the destructive policies because it's geopolitics. It works for them. It just doesn't work for the people. But the people can vote people out that do that in a democracy. How about this? A democracy, like I said, under normal conditions, like non-hybrid, non-warlike conditions, which we don't have today, you can stick to the election cycle. 4 years, okay, no biggie. But something like this, pre-World War III, there's no time to let stooges ride out. And all the old stooges that were able to, turn influence peddle and turn it into cash deals for themselves that weren't really looking at the fine print or the implications of it because they thought they could get away with it, like scuzzballs, slime balls, and other ne'er-do-wells tend to do. Well, this might just end up, and it will bite them in the ass, like they'll get life sentences for taking deals at the wrong time with the wrong people. It can happen. And everybody associated with them. Make sure not to make the Eastern European mistake and give them a slap on the wrist because they just regrouped. They remobilized. They redeployed. And those countries, all of them, need to be reviewed from top to bottom. We'll just call this the time of infamy. Be sure the historians call that. 1990, till 2000, and let's just say 2025. We'll say it's historically the time of infamy. So anyone engaged in politics or informational sectors, they're guilty by association. So what can a democracy do? Well, it can say we need an election right now. Election, we have an emergency. It's a national emergency. It's an international emergency. We need an election in 2 weeks. So get some candidates. Get the lady who serves up the food at the cafeteria. She's running for office. Get somebody like that. Get the truck driver. Get somebody, the electrician. Somebody that doesn't have any ties to these classist pricks. Finance sector, legal sector, political, families, dynasties, they're dead. The period of this time of infamy killed them all off. They all went extinct. They stopped doing politics because they messed up that bad. So there are no family dynasties. There never was. But what is going to be number one is competence. It's going to be bravery in the face of massive enemy activity. That's what counts. That's what valor is. And we're going to redefine it in this time. It's not here today, but it's coming. And it's going to be the common people that do it, because you have everything to lose with these authoritarians. They will bongo party. Maybe it's 1,000, maybe it's 5,000, maybe it's 10,000 max in your country. But everybody else is going to get screwed. Don't believe me? Look at Cuba. There it is. Venezuela, another example, modern example. They don't call them, what do they call themselves? Socialists? Whatever they call themselves. Democrats. All of them need to go. So look, it takes time to identify these things. It takes time to sink in. It takes time to come to grips with the type of massive toxic social, economic, and psychological pollution that we're dealing with. But it does reach a tipping point, and we've reached it. And now we have it. So this is the new day. Mobilize. And for now, you can be happy that not all of you are dead. Until that happens, you have resources. So see that link? Send me a damn coffee. And make yourself your own damn coffee. Look, it's DIY time, people. You say that you're for democracy, you're for the Western model. Well, that means mobilizing, grassroots style, and being advised that we have tricky tricksters in this game, and they will use every and anything. And they will come at you from all different vectors. You think your family's solid, you're lovey-dovey person that went to a dumb university, and you just thought her or his opinions were off-putting, but now you know they're leveraged pukes essentially, and they're not working for your best interest or the best interest of the country, and their whole model is going to fall apart. So they picked the losing side. They picked cowardice. They picked infamy. They picked the highway to hell, and that is where they're going, and there's nothing you could have done to prevent that. Everyone has their own personal responsibility in these matters. So they're going to hell, and we're going to heaven, friends, no matter what. So you thought you were doing something yesterday, it's not enough. Just figuring these things out is not enough. Mobilizing is what you need to do. And keep those eyes peeled. Anybody coming out funny or funky or didn't get it quick enough, you don't need them. And their dress-up and pretenders have it of the uniform variety and also the civilian variety. A lot of these total pricks are the ones suggesting the strangest of things to get people busted. So you got people talking nonsense, you need to identify and ice them out. Because that's how they operate. They're in the courts, they love giving people false charges. trumped up charges. They'll invent a new charge, incitement or what have you. Be prepared for it. Get your families prepared for it. Write your wills, whatever you have to do. Get your stuff in order, because that's how they're going to come. Don't be surprised. That's how they're going to come. But if we turn the corner on this, guess who's going to get the charge? We get some judges in there that know what's up. Who's going to get charged? Well, that's why they're so freaked out. So you need to be freaked out like that, because it's going to come whether you do anything or not. Because you're a thinking person that likes the truth and your country, that your traditions, your heroes, well, they hate your guts because of that, automatically. They're a class of the radical class hates your guts. I'm going to tell you that right now. Why would they hate me for liking good things? No, they do hate you. Yes, they hate you. Everything they say is a projection. Hey, 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 hey. Where's that coming from? It's internal. They're projecting it. It's another thing. Look at them. What did they say? They say, oh, it's a shame somebody didn't get shot in the face. Yeah. Who thinks like that? These aren't good people. They're just playing pretend. So they slip up. You do the same thing they would do to you. Eye for eye, tooth for their tooth. They cancel good people for saying things. Call them isms and is. What's another one? Misogynist. There's one. You cancel them on the spot. That person, you don't need them around. What? They got a hair trigger for sociological hate terms, terroristic terms. They got hair trigger for that. They're trained like that. That's a torpedo, friend. Just see them like with some TNT and a ticking time bomb. That's a little snitch. A little step and fetch it. A little browbeater. Social organizer. You need them in your group? No, you don't. You need gonorrhea? No, you don't. So now you see them, now you don't. Don't get in any arguments with them. Don't engage with them. Just write them off. They're a total loss. They're the definition of what it is to be a despicable, unlikable, retrograde kind of human being, if you can call them that. And it's a shame. Look, when people, it's a toxic kind of environment, isn't it? Well, it's like that when they start spraying that chemical gas too. It was a toxic environment when they were spraying chlorine gas in them trenches, where all those young boys and heroes were sent and didn't come back because they choked the damn lungs out. That was a toxic environment, wasn't it? Don't know about that, didn't learn about that. You learned some flipped history instead. Well, F you. Your history stinks, your mentality stinks, everything about you stinks. Your friends stink, your network stinks, your money stinks. But yeah, that was a toxic environment. It was meant to be toxic. It was intentional. It was poison gas. Well, these people, they're poison gas too, just in a gray zone type of social operation. So these social media companies, again, spreading that out, distributing it, their karma is as bad as it can be. And nobody's gonna, they spit on Jesus, hate Jesus. Well, guess what? The Buddha doesn't have their back either. They think they're Buddhist, they think they're some other religion. They're deluded. They're going straight to hell, to the deepest regions of it, because there's a multiplier effect on that toxicity. And at the same time, censor people telling the truth. They're going to hell realms that human beings never thought were possible. So these are not good people. They are at best deluded. But the maniacs that are just see it because they like it, because they're sadists, don't be like them. But do avoid them. You can do that. Civil disobedience, do what you can do. Don't do what you don't need to do. That's an effective strategy. There's a lot of non-violence, non-compliance you can use. You do not have to go along with that. They start coming out with that. You do not. You can detach from that. You can disidentify from that. And that is also something. Don't discount that. Everybody else going to do some type of henpecking, sociological henpecking. You say, nah, look, I'm not doing that. You might go to the guy and say, hey, look, this is how they're coming at you with. Be prepared. That's good karma. You can do that. There's no law against that. But be advised, those people will turn on you like piranhas, so don't underestimate the threat. These people have destroyed countless lives. In the East, we're talking hundreds of millions. You throw China and India into the same camp. Iran, double I in the BRICS alliance, Turkey, hundreds of millions of lives, easy. And then let's add up the victims that they've caused in modern times in the West. Don't even give these people an inch, a centimeter, a millimeter to squirm at. Just like you wouldn't let a molecule of chlorine gas into your environment if you could help it. Do the same thing as far as their sociology is concerned. Like I said, these universities, it's a shame. Maybe some departments are less toxic than others. But until this is all cleared up, they're off. They're radioactive. That's the way you need to see them. They are debilitating. They do the opposite of what they're supposed to do. They misinform people. They maladjust them. And some of these effects are permanent. They have destroyed countless lives this way. And there's a multiplier effect. So you think, oh, I'm saving up for send my kids to college. Put that money someplace else. Put those kids someplace else too. Put them to work. Doing something sensible in a sensible place that doesn't have these damn minders. And underminers are all over the place. These big companies, they're gonna go away. They're gonna get repackaged. They're gonna get new management, new ownership, everything. Until that happens, you might have to be Poe for a couple of years. How rich was George Washington in 1776? You materialist kind of secularist toads. How rich was he? When he was rolling around Jersey in the winter. I didn't learn about that. I was told, make money, greed is good. I watch Wall Street. Well, maybe you're in the wrong damn country. Your head's not in the right place, nor is your heart or your butt. You're going to be rich because you fit in with a bunch of conformists. You're on the wrong side of history, friend. And anybody that thinks like you or acts like you. So that their network is not the network anyone worth a damn wants to be in or isn't. This Kamala Harris is a total joke too. Look at her. She's from India. She was essentially a prostitute for some corrupt dude in California that didn't do a damn thing for the American people. Didn't win a damn election. Just like, Sunak slid in to the presidency. Now she's going to win it officially with vote counts where the pollsters are Pravdaites saying that she's leading in the polls by 2%, and they're going to pull one of those things? You're kidding me. So any Americans that go, oh, well, this is just a repeat of the same thing, and I best believe them. Turn on your radar, suckers. How flagrant can these monsters be? They don't have a chance in hell. So that's the first hurdle. And the second is, if Trump gets in, he needs to have his feet held to the fire. His venture capitalist buddies and rhinos and, ANOs, he needs to distance himself from them. Big time. In a hybrid, pre-hybrid, post-hybrid war, that age is over. art of the deal, that deal is done. Because these venture capitalists, global capital, all that is how they got in the first place. So all those people, rich, real estate flippers, whatever, stock market, genie asses, laundering money for the Dictator Alliance or oilists. They are the last scum of the earth and should be seen as such and considered as such. They have no business in even a municipality, let alone national politics. So they overestimated, they overplayed their hand, so let them know that. And if Trump lets them slide, then he should have all of everyone come down on him like a ton of bricks for real reasons and not emotionalized ones. And how we do the country going forward, that's up for grabs. If the country even is worth continuing under conditions like that, I would say no. So how people are elected or chosen or vetted by the public, all of that's going to change thanks to these complete monsters that right now still think they're going to pull it off. There's just going to be a continuation because they're that high on their own methane. But look, people make mistakes all the time. These people have made gigantic mistakes. Even the Dictator Alliance is waiting for them to crash. They can't believe people could be that stupid to follow these people anywhere. Which is why even with their crappy militaries, they thought they could pull it off. But look at them. They took Afghanistan without a shot being fired after 20 years of super duper activity. So why couldn't Cuba take over Florida or the Chinese California? Why not? They got their people in there, don't know how to do anything except wokeify things so that they don't work. They're a defense? No, they're not. So they could even start with conventional. Like I said, their 70s equipment. They think that's enough. Why shouldn't they? It's not like the wokey dokes are going to show up to prevent a beach landing, are they? They're going to be butts up for whoever comes in, just like now. That's why they put them there. So see them for what they is. Anybody, the California is disgrace right now. New York, disgrace. These presidential tail, dog wagging the tail people, disgraceful. So this is what it is. And like I said, they think we're going to do these 4-year cycles. Look, democracy means calling for an election. People in Ireland, UK, Germany, any other country, Sweden, call for, it's an election of national emergency. And don't make it too long. Like, it's going to be 2-3 weeks. And that's it. Then that's democracy in action. Okay. But do realize they're going to try to get their people in, so it's going to be an ongoing process until protections are put in place. That's just the way it has to be. And there's going to be a lot of people that, are going to have troubles. There's going to be disruptions. We already see them happening. We can't prevent that under conditions like this. What? But who are they going to blame? Us. But no, it's them. It is them. It's their policies. Their policies are something that can be ascertained and it's illicit. Their crappy leadership and democracy is for good leadership. So how is it that that's not democracy? It is. So these people, their networks, their money, everything, they got to go. That's just the way it is. This is August 2024. Let's just see the stopwatch. I'm clicking the stopwatch now. Listen, hear that? I just started it. It would be best if this can happen in 24 hours, but if it takes 3 days, 1 month, 3 months, 1 year, that's just the time it takes. That's going to be the extent of their rampage through your institutions. And they're there. Oh yeah. They're there, and you're the problem according to them. So is that acceptable in democratic countries? No. It's not acceptable to the majority of the population, no matter what they say, especially when they say it's not the case. So trust your guts, not the airwaves at this point. And that's just the way it's going to be. And some countries might not make it. They might be too dense. Now, that's not to say they don't deserve democracy. They do. At least the majority of them do. But it's going to take some time to roll this back. So bring some patience. Bring some of that, how shall we put it, perspective. It took them a long time to get to this position, but that doesn't mean they're going to be in it for long. And like I said, their best buddies, the Dictator Alliance, hate their guts too, and are just using them like a condom against their own people. But you best believe once they get done doing what they think they need to do to get the rest, they're going to dispose of them. So they're really in nowhere, except in their minds, some kind of important or good people. So don't spare condoms that have been used against you and your people and your culture and your nation, like these condoms have. And do check their backstories. Like I said, people nominally in the country, for them, it's just a joke. They never thought they could get that far. But they walked down on a ledge, didn't they? And they think they're going to walk it back. They might be wrong. That's why it's not advisable to deceive people, especially millions of them all at the same time. But they thought they could pull it off. That's how outrageous these people are. So believe your eyes and your guts. Don't believe what they say. And this election, like I said, it's probably going to be... There's going to be some tricks and some turns and some unexpected things, but that principle of calling for new elections, that is politically legitimate in a time like this. So stick to it. Stick to your guns. And until you get people that are legitimate in your government, it's illegitimate. That's the way you need to think of it, because it is. So you see that coffee link? There you go. Haven't sent me a coffee link. Might not be there in the next 10 minutes, so do what you can with what you can while you can, because it's not going to be so easy as things stand. But who said life was going to be like that? You want it easy, you want everything to be straightforward. Well, they figured that one out, and that's why you've been played the way you have. Like, look at these cities. Dublin, Berlin, wherever, Stockholm. They played these people for punks. They played the whole country for suckers. And those crimes, they have added up, haven't they? But for them, it was just a cost of doing business. So don't give them an inch. Their little step-and-fetch-it stooges, they have no honor at all. Their little radicalisms that they get themselves psyched up about, it's nothing but nonsense. What's the hashtag? Hashtag Mobilize. Get yourself mobilized. Put that hashtag on some things. Especially hard-hitting journalism, free press, that there isn't a democracy in the world that didn't love that or knew how to respect that. Real journalists, people out on the street just with your phone, talking to people, letting people know you're heroes. And in a future that's worth living in, you will be recognized as such. Don't ever forget it.